Are we recording now?
Yeah, we're recording.
All right, then I just have one question for you, Graham.
What's up?
Are you ready for some role play?
Oh, hell yeah!
You're gonna have to cut this because I'm on the wrong page.
No, keep that in.
Welcome to the Hidden Role Play podcast, where we discuss deception and hidden role games. I'm your host, Kyle, and behind the scenes is our main man, Alex, and joining me is my co-host, Graham.
Hi.
How you doing today, Graham?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so ready for a pod. It's been so long.
It's been a minute. Alex is already bored.
So much has happened. Thanksgiving, the election.
Is this really the first one since the election?
It is, yeah.
Oh my god.
I know, it feels like a lifetime ago.
It feels like the election was 9 months ago.
We ended our last pod talking about ranked choice voting.
Oh, that's right, and abolishing the
and
electoral college.
Our electoral college mafia.
Okay, all right. Okay, yeah. Wow.
I don't know if I even want to go through with that game. I'm kind of just like glad to be beyond anything related to politics right now.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Instead, how about we talk about today's game, Town of Salem by Blank Media Games. It is, in their estimation, the largest online werewolf, but I would think that Among Us has eclipsed that by now, don't you think?
Would you consider Among Us werewolf?
I would consider it, yeah. It's basically you're on a team of werewolves and you kill people and try not to get found out. There's no rollage in the traditional sense, right?
It's not even the rollage for werewolf. What I consider werewolf is the phases: a day phase, a night phase.
See, what I do consider it in phases. I consider the walking part to be day phase, and then I consider the night phase to be when you have the vote.
When you're talking, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Can we, maybe actually, I think I would reverse that. The day phase would be the vote, and then
you're right.
Night phase, yeah. But still,
I'm already getting off. I want to get off rails. Absol Trainer was going to post an Among Us game. Was that? I mean, is that going to be the mechanic? Like the day phase doesn't end until someone finds the body?
Ooh, what if you did reverse it? I know we're totally off Town of Salem right now.
Keep going.
What if, and traditionally the day phase is the long phase. What if the day phase was the short phase? You just voted really quickly based on night actions.
There you go. That's right.
I've thought about what about a game with no day phase?
It could be like a day phase where you just do one vote and that's it.
Oh, it's not even that. Just a day phase where it's just like mod updates and then it goes right to the next night phase.
Well, then how would Town win?
By night phase.
Night phase actions.
SMH.
It's we can talk about it later. That's a big brain idea I've got.
Graham likes flipping the roles. He gave Town a private chat last time, so
I would place this below your Postal Service game.
That's what it is. It's the Postal Service game.
That game.
Yeah, it's the Postal Service game. They write in the letters in night phase. They go on a bulletin board during the day phase, and then it's night again.
Oh well, then it's a worse idea than I thought it was.
Shit.
Back to the drawing board. Back to Town of Salem. Graham,
can we go back to politics? Oh, okay.
No. Instead, why don't you tell us how to play Town of Salem?
Okay. Do you want me to give like the classic one that we played a lot of, mostly like a little bit of ranked style?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you got 15 rolls. I'm going off the dome with this. I don't have anything in front of me. You got 15 rolls. You're gonna have 2 neutrals. You're gonna have 3 mafia members. And then 10 town rolls. And it's, like we said, it's pretty traditional werewolf. There's a day phase. You'll talk about maybe results from abilities you got at night. You can vote up someone to decide whether or not they're guilty. I guess that would be one of the bigger distinctions of this game is the fact that during a day phase, you can have multiple people voted for. Would you? Yeah, and so you vote people up, and then they're allowed to get up there and give like a little like last words kind of thing, and you can decide after hearing that if whether or not they're guilty or innocent. And if enough people vote innocent, less than or if more than half vote innocent, then they come down from the gallows, and you have time still usually to send another person back up. But anyway, so you vote someone, either someone votes off and gets killed, or just go in the night phase. Nighttime, the mafia kill people, and at the daytime, the town tries to kill the mafia. It's simple.
Succinctly put.
It's werewolf in its most streamlined form with some issues.
It is very streamlined, but it is also convoluted at the same time in that there are many variations. So like in the traditional one, you always see the same thing, but then there are lots and lots of add-ons in several different formats, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to discuss any of that at all?
Can we talk about the formats? I guess. I mean, we tried to get in a couple of them, and we could only get in one or two games of some of the more really out there formats.
Yeah, we tried to do one specifically. I remember, and there weren't enough people trying to join it for a game to begin.
Right. So you've got things like the typical classic rank, which is a more traditional mafia, 15 people. But then you have like a thing called chaos, which is just 15 of any of the game's roles. So I don't even know if there's any formula for how many mafia neutral town. It's just pandemonium. There's some weird format where you can play as vampires. They're very niche.
Yeah.
Player bases they're pandering to.
Do you want to briefly discuss like the sign up process and like the website itself, how it's run? Because it's all a virtual game.
Well, you would know more about the website itself. I've it downloaded through Steam.
Gotcha.
And I know there's a mobile app, and it's actually on my phone, and I've never even fired it up. But I mean, for Steam, I think it's $4.99 for the Steam version. You can play for free online like you did. You just sign up, and then you get in and play. You enter a lobby with a regular username. Say your name's Kyle. You enter as Kyle, but then after the lobby's filled, you get 15 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever, to put in a random name so that the games are all completely anonymous. And if you're playing with the same people over and over again, you don't know who's who, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
What about the online? What do you want? You want to tell them about the online? You were I remember a couple times you were complaining about having to go to a certain website that wasn't the actual.
Yeah, when I Googled Town of Salem, it would take me to Blank Media Games, and then I would try to log in. There's a login on that page, but it is not the same login as your Town of Salem page. and like as the first thing that comes up when you Google it, I just found that very confusing.
Is it the same credentials for both sites work, or do you have to have two separate accounts?
No, you have to have separate accounts.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Because what other games do they have?
I only signed up for Town of Salem, but that sign up does not work on the Blank Media Games website.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think we're ready to get into some more of the nitty gritty. So
the meat.
There's 35 roles in the free online version of the game, or in the standard game that you'd buy on Steam. There's also a DLC called Coven. Have you played the DLC?
No, and honestly, I always assumed it was pronounced Coven. Am I wrong?
You are very wrong.
Is that really how it's pronounced? Okay.
Yes.
Let's not worry about that then.
Now, I did not play this until this month, or this past month. Now it's December. I did not play this until November. You'd been begging me to play though for a couple of years now. This game did come out in 2014. So when and how did you get introduced to Town of Salem?
Shoot, it would have been about maybe 2016-ish, and I don't even remember how I got introduced to it. I think I was looking at just cheap Steam games that were on sale. It was on sale for like $2.99 or something, and I was like, oh, this is the werewolf game that's on the computer. I'll try it out. And yeah, that's it.
Did you ever have periods where you like played it a lot? Like,
Oh yeah, I played ranked real hard, like in like 2017 or something like that, and um, the ranked meta's kind of toxic on there. So,
well, the casual meta can be toxic too, so that doesn't surprise me.
So, um, it never. Yeah, I never really liked, and you can't. I don't think you can do at least at the time, you couldn't do parties for ranked play. I still don't think you can for obvious purposes against trying to prevent cheating. So it was kind of not worth the time and energy of going into these toxic text-based games by myself and trying to play ranked. Yeah, but I mean, the classic ones are where you get to just play and you can party up like you and I did, or
right. So you could theoretically just like party up with a bunch of people that you invited and then join a game. So you could play with just like all some of the other games we've been discussing with people you know. And that'd probably be a better experience than some of the ones we'll get to. But yeah. I want to talk, as we usually do, about pros and cons. Let's just start with the cons because we've already brought it up a little bit. And the first one, I usually don't go first, but since we've already discussed it,
we're going community.
Yeah, this is a text-based game primarily.
Yes,
in order to queue up with enough people, because you need 15 to play the game, you're going to probably need, in all likelihood, some random people.
Yeah, even if there's 10 of you, there's still 5 random people.
Yeah, and wow, I played like a little over a dozen games of this in the last month, and more than half of them, something happened in the chat. It went
off the rails somewhere.
Off color, to put it lightly.
Yeah. I mean, it's people behind anonymity, so
right. Everyone feels really edgy behind their keyboards.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into too many specific details, but like people would sign up with usernames that were offensive. People would there's a secret death note that you write when you die that is shown to everyone, and people would.
Well, hang on. The death note is if like someone kills you, you can quote unquote leave that behind. That's the note from the killer. So yes, like if someone's a serial killer in the game or the mafia member, when they go and kill you, they can leave a note. Yeah, that flips. But yes, those can be interesting.
Yeah, so people would from the jump just write something offensive in there, and then that would become a point of discussion during the next phase of like who agrees or disagrees with that sentiment. And and then another part of instead of just like making offensive usernames, you could just make a name of someone famous, and then people will like instantly kill you and then say something about that person, like I killed you because blah blah blah. And wow,
I remember as Joe Biden that one game. I did not make it very far.
No. that actually, usually we go back and forth. I have a lot of cons for this game, so why don't I just throw in a pro here, right? While we're at it.
You want to give it a little compliment sandwich?
Yeah, I do try to have as many pros as I have cons. Okay. So my favorite part of playing Town of Salem with you was just trying to guess what username you picked.
It's not even part of the mechanics of the game.
No, but that was real. I do like that they thought ahead to like preserve the anonymity. And when you play with the same people and over again, that's just inevitably going to be a fun part of the game, I think, is like, what did you sign up as? Because you know my tendencies of what I think would be funny, and with something I'm trying to unintentionally steer you away, and that part.
We were pretty close. We were pretty quick on it every time.
Yeah, I think we were pretty evenly matched at guessing. Yeah. How about you? What are you want to go start with a con?
Oh, con. Let's see. Since we did the community, I'm going to actually do a mechanical con. In the ranked or your ranked practice. I feel that there's not enough wiggle room for the mafia to lie against a group of actually good players, based on the fact that there's always only. So the setup for the town there's only one role that isn't like pigeonholed. You have eight roles. Actually, let me start over. When you're in the game, you see a list of all the roles that are in the game in ranked or ranked practice. So you have the jailer, investigator, sheriff, doctor, and so on. And in terms of unknown entities of the town, the only unknown entities you have are a town killing role, which there are not many options for. And then the only other one to hide behind is a random town, which gets called out super fast. And also, is our producer playing Pokemon Go in his studio?
Yes.
I'm trying to get my stupid buddy to show up so I can give him a stupid treat.
Okay, great.
I've been there. Nothing makes me feel more dumb than when I have to stand up to need to back up away from my Pokemon.
But yeah, so there's only one like role that's pretty much not known. So I feel like it would be really obvious for any good town to be able to narrow stuff down really quickly. You just have a mass role claim, and you just look for the anomalies of what doesn't match up.
I guess I'm gonna push back on that idea a little bit. I do think it's. When I first started playing, I thought like 33% of the game being not town would be skewed, but I do think it's pretty balanced, and the way it's balanced, oddly enough, is the randomness of experience.
Okay.
So if you get queued into a game where all of the good players are town, yeah, the town is definitely probably going to win because there's few places to hide in the traditional setup, given that there's only one random town and one random killing town. But I played in at least two games where the mafia, well, one where the mafia just swept, and then the other where only one mafia died, and they died early, so then it felt like a sweep by the end again. So, and in those games, you just there was this innate sense of insecurity about everyone playing because clearly mistakes are being made and they're being exploited. So I feel like the variance tends to go with the experience, and that makes the setup, which should be pretty solvable, more balanced, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So I actually have another kind of disjointed but somewhat related con. Mm-hmm. I'll just fire it off the hip right now. So in Among Us, I'm going to use Among Us as an example first. When you going through whatever you want to call it, the night phase, day phase of running through the ship until you find a dead body or emergency meeting or whatever. And let's just for simplicity's sake, let's say you find the body. You report the body and you go straight into chat, and you know exactly what you're going to be talking about, like for that voting session. You're talking about where you found that body, who was around, blah blah blah. Like it's a pretty clear outline for what the town wants to try to achieve. Town in Among Us wants to achieve in that day chat. The day chat in Town of Salem, I would say, I'm not 85-90% is disjointed. It never makes sense. No one ever goes back to previous days, last wills. It just feels like it's always a cluster.
Now, to be fair, again, halfway through the games that I played, I didn't even know you could look back at the chat from the previous days. There's plenty of things about the interface that were not intuitive to me as a new player. So I guess that's another one of my cons is there was plenty of things that while it tells you like on the screen, you can click on the roles that are in the setup and it'll give you definitions. Those definitions weren't always clear to me as a new player what they meant. First of all, like as the spy, which is one I'll talk about later, where you bug people's houses and you get intel. Like I didn't know what the bugging was doing the entire time I was playing the game, because whether or not I got it hit on a town member or a mafia member, it did the exact same thing. So I had no idea what my roles even intended to do. And then like I said, I didn't know you could look back at previous day chat. So I think part of the reason why the day chat sucks sometimes is that people don't know they can do some of these functions.
Or they're memeing.
That too.
There's a
There
lot
were
of
people
memeing.
who just joined the game for that intention. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Um,
Do you have any pros to throw in here? Or do you want to keep you doing cons?
I've kind of thrown in some of my pros here. Like I thought the
Are we done?
balance was okay, and
Okay. Uh-huh.
another one of mine would be the with 15 roles in the traditional game. I felt like there's enough variety that where I liked queuing into multiple games in a night.
Yeah.
I didn't get the same thing over and over again. It's not like sometimes when you play One Night Werewolf, for example, you might get Villager like a bunch in a row, or you might just get standard Werewolf like a lot. And with having 15 unique roles in a game, that's pretty cool.
Let's actually go down this real quick. If anyone listening to this listens to our Mafia recap pods, which I'm pretty sure the Venn diagram's pretty big in terms of how they connect. We talked about how, sometimes too many power rolls is a bad thing, of maybe like you're like improving in your skill.
Hmm.
Town of Salem has no vanilla rolls.
Yeah.
And yet it doesn't feel like roll crazy.
No, it does kind of feel like that one game I hosted, the Alola Mafia, where like everyone had a quote unquote power roll and that they could do something, but most of the rolls sucked.
Right. Yeah. Like, you're a medium, you talk to dead people. I mean, half the time, half the dead people are disconnected and they've already left the game, but still, you have a roll.
The medium roll feels worse than being vanilla.
Oh, that's extreme, since it's objectively more to do than a vanilla roll, but okay. So I was just gonna say, I was gonna give that as a pro. Like you said, you were always interested in queuing up again just because there was a large enough variety. And I think what also adds to that is, you're going to get to do something.
Hmm.
How important that something is, TBD.
Do you have any more pros?
Not really.
I had one last one, which was that it features multiple game modes, which some other online games do not. So there's even more variety in that sense. And that if you're sick of playing ranked practice, you can throw into for a more crazy round, and that's more of like a humorous time than a really serious strategic time, because there's not a lot of prediction in some of the more random modes, but it's just fun to see where the cards fall.
Right. I guess in all fairness, in terms of strategy with it, it is a game where if you practice or play it a lot, especially like in the ranked, like fixed formats, you are going to become undoubtedly better because of the way it's set up. And I guess that's good. We'll give it that.
Now I have some more cons. Do you?
Okay, let's go. I'll listen to them. I'm sure I can think of some.
Well, I've got two. And so I'll give my more benign one first, which is that I don't like the aesthetics of this game. It
feels like a 1990 Flash game.
It feels like a Flash game. It also feels like when casinos started getting more
like a shitty
gamified machines.
Okay,
like slot machines. They have more graphics. Yeah. It has like that kind of aesthetic.
I've never thought about that, but I absolutely can see what you're talking about.
It's like tacky and flashy, and it's suffused with the microtransactionness of it all. Like,
yeah.
Look at the flashy things you can purchase as add-ons, and everything's kind of like bouncing in that flash kind of way. It's kind of gaudy, and it puts like a weird taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking aesthetics, like the little circle that you all walk out to in the beginning of the day, like, what is the even point of that? Like, you got your people and your pets walking out there. Like, I don't need that.
That's strictly for the microtransactions. Like, we need a place to display them, because you just bought something with your money.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Give me your next one. Okay, I want to hear the less benign one. Is there actually? Is there?
Oh, sorry,
What's
I
the
have two
opposite?
left. I have two
What's
left.
the opposite of benign? English teacher.
Intense or
Intense. That doesn't sound right. Benign's not hurtful, so or harmful.
blatant. I don't know.
Okay, right? Am I defining benign right? Like
Yeah,
non-harmful?
yeah.
Yeah. So it would be
Minor.
harmful, toxic. I don't know. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
There's a oh, I guess it's all like one big combined one. This is my meaty con.
Just the game in general.
There's a developed meta, and it
Yes.
is very convoluted. There, you could say that it's a pro in that there's a learning curve to the game.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
but the learning curve, at least when you're just trying to play casually, is arduous to try to both navigate to wade your way through. The game has its own lingo. Like there's people all know all the abbreviations for everything, so you're trying
You're
to
asking me
keep
about a lot of
pace
things.
with. Yeah, people are like the chat's going by quickly. You're on a timer, and people are abbreviating things, and people are asking about the abbreviations. And then there's like lines of play that experienced players know that you should do, and inexperienced players are going to make those mistakes, and then they're going to be harassed for them. Like if a player who has a certain role dies, people often throw out questions like, "That's not what that role should have been doing." Blah 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 blah.
Like the one time you were a jailer.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started. Yeah. It was a learning curve that I did not want to learn.
It is steep. It is steep and unforgiving.
Just felt all very haughty, and I don't know.
Now that we're saying that, is there even a tutorial?
I don't know. We'll have our producer check in on that while we're.
Alex, is there a tutorial to this? Because if there's not a tutorial to this, that's kind of bad.
Well, even if there was, I don't think it's going to go over like the meta lingo aspect of the game. Another thing I was going to
certainly they know what it is.
For example, another thing that's part of like the meta that you would have to know is like the investigator can see someone's role, but that's only one of 3 roles, and that set of 3 is always the same. And I was really shocked to learn that, because that would be great information to know if you were mafia and you were trying to claim something else. Because like, let's say you're a mafioso, the other 2 roles you could potentially be seen as, quote unquote, are like veteran and vigilante. And so if you claim, if the killing town hasn't died yet or revealed yet, you can force them to out themselves, or at least go into a 50-50 by claiming veteran right away. And it could also, if the random town hasn't been picked yet, that could also be a killing town role. So there could be 3 killing town. Well, you'd be claiming the third. There can only be 2, but you would be claiming the third, and because then the other 2 wouldn't necessarily be able to process of eliminate you. So yeah, there's like a lot of like minor things that the more you play that you catch on to, and it's like, how was I supposed to like catch on to that unless I got obsessed with this game and played it for like a month straight,
or like read the wiki.
Yeah,
because I know when I was first learning, and like exactly what you're talking about, the investigator role, and I was trying to fake it one time. I just had to keep like Googling what things would show up as, so I could put it in my fake last will.
And I don't want to sound like I'm saying like having a learning curve is a bad thing, but the reason it's a con is because of the chat and because of the other random players who are not going to be kind to you when you're not at a good place on the learning curve.
Well, I think the problem with calling it, or with the learning curve, is it's not a curve. It's just kind of a cliff. You just you're at the bottom, and you need to learn all the lingo right away to be able to read and digest what's going on in the chat. And until you do, you're going to be at the bottom. There's no there's no way to ease into the game.
Yeah, it reminds me of how how the word sus has taken on like its own life of its own.
There is sus memorabilia in stores?
Yeah, my girlfriend was watching a booktuber YouTube video today, and
Hang on. Booktuber?
yeah, someone
What?
who makes their living YouTubing about books, and they talked about one of the characters in the book in terms of their susness, and we were like, "Oh my god, it's everywhere!"
Susness?
Yeah, so that's just like a fraction of what you can find in the chat logs of Town of Salem. Like that one thing that has permeated the culture from Among Us, and of course other games before that. But Among Us is where how it's filtered into the rest of the
It's pop culture now.
the zeitgeist. Is it's unfathomable how much, not that's an exaggeration, but there's a lot more to Town of Salem.
I think unfathomable is a good word for that. So do the booktubers, do they like read the books on YouTube?
No, they just review them. They talk about trends. They talk about authors who have come into
trends?
news.
There's trends in books?
Oh yeah. You have they have their own genres. They like react to like headlines, blah blah blah.
Are there also
talking to two guys with significant others who have bookstagrams?
True, good point. Yeah, no, I know, but that's not booktube. There, he said booktuber as if there was a very specific
it's
YouTuber booktuber.
Video format versus photo format.
Okay, all right, okay. I mean, okay,
yeah,
okay. I mean, okay, cool.
Well, that concludes my cons and pros. Do you have anything left that you want to address?
No, not right now. I'm good. We've buried it enough.
Then let's educate the masses, Poteet.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's give some
What are we
tips.
teaching them? Always keep your last will. There's my first tip. What's next?
Oh, dang. That was also my first tip. Yeah, this is a good tip for town and for Mafia, though. Like, because as soon as you come under pressure, the first thing you want to do is like, here's my note. Look at my note. I've been playing the game, and I'm not lying about what I've been saying.
That's the first thing people ask for. Post will. As soon as you claim, post will.
Yeah.
Which I guess I don't even know if we really touched on. Okay, so in the game, you can take notes. There's a separate notepad, but then there's also a last will, which is, unless it's Kyle, help me out. What's the word I'm thinking of? Obfuscated? How do you say this word?
Yes, obfuscated.
Thank you. Unless something does that to the last will, it pops up when you die and people can see. So like they'll see when you flip, let's say you're doctor and they didn't believe you for whatever reason. Then when they'll see your role was doctor, they'll see your last will, they'll be able to connect some dots. So it's important to take notes, or if you're an investigator and you say you're investigating people and they didn't believe you and they killed you, or the mafia kills you, then you can see the targets of your last will, which is just a note document where you take notes. So yes, always keep that up to date. And as a mafia member, I believe you're going to say, always be keeping a fake one so that's more believable when you come under fire.
And to just tack onto that, like you have to plan as quickly as you can what you're going to claim, and then if that person flips, you adjust on the fly.
You got
delete everything, start over, even if it means
you don't even need to do that. If you're mafia, maybe a little enter, a couple spaces down, you got another one. You just erase the first one if you need it, or you put the second one in the notes, and then you just copy it over if needed.
Next level.
And a big brain.
I guess it's at a certain point. Would you just start like coming up with like a template and copying and pasting it?
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of hardcore people that probably have just like a notepad that's like fake investigator, fake veteran, fake whatever, fake vigilante, and they just copy it in when they need
Change the names.
Yeah, I could see it.
You got any other town pros or town tips?
I mean, like I said earlier, I think this is a good game.
Let's just clarify. These are not advanced tips. These are
basic tips.
You're as new as me, as new as I was. Tips.
Okay, so this is, in my opinion, I think it's proper play to, after a town, a random town has been confirmed. So let's say let's say there was a sheriff. That's a medium. Let's just say medium. The medium is one of the roles that the town can have. Let's say a second medium flips, so thus we know.
You stole my next one too. Dang it!
Did I really?
Yeah.
Gosh,
so
we're in
I'm
sync. I was just
gonna
after that happens, like town roll call right there. It's time to go.
Yeah, you gotta call out random town when you can identify it, killing town when you can identify it. Just make sure everyone, because you don't know how experienced everyone else you're playing with is. You just gotta help everybody get on the same page as quick as you can.
Okay, why don't you give one before I take another one?
All right, well, this is my last one, so yeah, I have to.
Okay.
It's to avoid the executioner and the jester because they tend to play pretty obviously. Now that brought up something that I was wondering, like, would it be good mafia play to from the get-go try to seem like I'm an obvious executioner?
I don't know about executioner. I actually think it's better to try to be an obvious jester.
Yeah. Well, how would you do that? That seems harder to accomplish.
Just make it very obvious.
Basically play like Tanner. Yeah.
Yeah. Which actually, real quick, let's take this cart and let's turn it to another direction.
Okay.
Does this game need the jester roll?
I don't like it in any game.
I don't like it either.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially the fact that there can be two. That sucks.
Yeah, and then like it gets to kill someone that voted for them, like as a double whammy. Like I don't know.
It's very obnoxious.
I don't enjoy playing it. I don't enjoy winning as it. And it doesn't really feel like it. I mean, it benefits the mafia more than it benefits the town, more often than not.
I had a streak where I was executioner or jester 3 games in a row, and each time I'd seen enough people play it by now to know that, like, if I say something really offensive, then I'll win the game because I'll get killed as jester. But I'm not going to do that because that's not satisfying as a way to win, and it's also not something I'm going to stoop to get a win. Right. So the fact that other people will do that, though, means like you're going to fall prey to it every so many games.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll put it back on track. Yeah. So are we in agreement that this game would probably like give me another like neutral role there? That's like, so like executioner isn't even really necessarily that much of a town helper, especially since they can turn into a jester. I would like a neutral role that can kind of help the town. Like I know Guardian Angel's a role that's not in
I was actually thinking about that because then in Coven there's a lot of neutral benign town roles. Like you just mentioned, there's Guardian Angel, there's Survivor.
Survivor would be fine. Yeah, like Amnesiac, perfectly fine as Survivor.
There's other chaotic ones, and then there's neutral killing roles. But yeah, something like Amnesiac or Guardian Angel feels like it would just be better in the base game.
Okay, that's all right. That's all. I don't even remember how I got here. I'm sorry.
Let's go to
more pro
Mafia tips.
Oh, Mafia tips. Okay. Kill people?
I would hope so.
Mafia tips.
Well, we already talked about my first one, which was just monitor your will.
Okay, yeah.
Proactive.
Again, let's see. So claiming veteran seems to usually be a decent claim if you're forced to claim early because it's the easiest will to fake. It's the hardest one to prove. And so there's that. Like if you claim something like investigator, you better be writing out everything. And I think it's the Godfather that comes back investigator. Maybe. And so like you normally want your Godfather to fake claim that instead usually. Bodyguard's a decent claim, but it's only a random town roll. I'm telling you, it's so tough to fake claim in this game.
Yeah, the easier ones to fake claim, I think, are just veteran and medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, medium's super easy to claim because then this is this is a line that I never get, and unless there's two claims for medium, which I guess would make sense if you're fake claiming it, but Town always asks, even if there's just one medium, they're like, okay, what did chat say? Like, you can make up whatever you want. There's no way to verify that.
I did that on one occasion.
Uh-huh. Okay, what else you got?
I only have one other one, and it is not helpful at all. It is just
okay.
Just don't talk. You'll probably live
for
a while.
You really don't need to. You don't talk. You make it to like day 4. It's fine because by 4, fall 3 of you are left.
I did that exactly 2 different games where I was Mafia, and it was the first 2 games I was Mafia, and I was like, I'm just gonna see how this goes, and I just didn't say anything until like day 4, and I was fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For a game that's based in talking, and this goes the same to like when we play on forums, not talking is
OP.
Unfortunately too good.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be a Curry. Don't coast.
Or this guy right here.
Shots fired.
Mafia Player of the Year 2020.
My last one that kind of just applies to both, which is to get to know the trios for the investigator, and I think that helps you both as a town player and as a Mafia player.
Mm-hmm. Also, here's a Mafia tip: if you have a cleaner, janitor, whatever the role is called, first 3 kills every time. Because if you can hide the early information, you can, and the cleaner gets to find out who they killed, so now they have perfect information on who to claim. Easy peasy.
That is such a frustrating role too.
That role's very strong.
Yeah.
Is that even now that because it's one random Mafia, so yeah, it can be the cleaner. Yeah.
That's all I have for tips. Do you have more?
No. For Mafia tips, no.
Okay.
Don't talk was a good one. Yeah, actually, I do have one that's kind of a pseudo tip that's, I say semi in jest, but also semi in seriousness. In a game where there is still a medium left, just talking to the medium and just being like, yeah, my teammates were this and this, or just trying to throw them off. Like either, I mean, it depends. Like you try to feel out the medium player, but you could be like, if your teammates were like number 11, 15, you're the first Mafia member dead. You're like, yeah, my teammates were 11 to 15. They're seeming pretty sus. Boom. Now the meme's like, okay, guy.
All right. It'd be funny to pull off at least.
Yeah. So it's give it a try.
And they're probably like starving out there for anyone to talk to them because people are just leaving the game.
Yeah. They're disconnecting. They're just alt tabbing out, and they're watching Alex Leachman's shiny raid Pokemon Go stream.
So what are your favorite roles to queue into? I have 2 favorite ones and 2 least favorite ones.
Okay, I can tell you right now my favorite town role is janitor, and I did not get it once when we played. Or jailer. Sorry, jailer, and I did not get it once when we played, and I was very upset about it.
I got it once, and I wish I had it.
I like the power. You take someone, throw them in jail, and you can decide whether or not to kill them. Love it.
It is. You do feel like you have the most control of the game when you're that role.
Yes. And town pro tip: once you find out who the jailer is, if you're the doctor, you better be protecting their ass every night. That's all. Okay. Go ahead.
My favorite role to give would probably just be the investigator. I like being able to.
That suits you. That makes sense.
And process and eliminate people.
Yeah. You strike me as an investigative kind of guy. Okay. Is your other role for Mafia or for Town as well?
It is for Mafia.
Okay, what is it?
It's Forger.
Oh, you like faking some last wills?
Yeah, I think that's pretty neat.
Okay, that is pretty neat. I do enjoy that. I know we just kind of crapped on it, but I like the cleaner role.
Yeah,
you don't really get it. I mean, it's not as interactive as the forger, but
it's just busted.
Huh?
No, it's just busted.
It's just busted, yeah.
You can't not. There's no way to mess it up. It's going to be good no matter what you do.
The fact that it tells you what the roll was that you cleaned.
Oh,
Chef's
wow.
kiss.
I didn't know
Chef's
that. That's
kiss.
insane. I don't like
so
that
good.
at all.
So good.
What about your least favorite roles?
Mafioso. And so I just said like vet. Like I kind of like being a vet because it's kind of fun. You hit the on alert icon and the flames come up. You're like, I'm gonna fuck anybody up that comes in here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like it's like you're just toggling a button for your role. And
there's so much that can go wrong with being on alert, though. Like that one game, you got totally.
I killed like 3
two
people.
town people, I think, killed themselves looking at you.
No, things can get ugly pretty quick if you're a vet and you go on alert on the wrong night. But so I mean, I like the vet. It's a love-hate relationship. Like even when I pull off like the 3 kill and 2 are town, see, that's electric. But when I go on alert and I get the flashy badge and then nothing happens that night, I feel defeated. I feel like I wasted the role. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of touched on it, but like, since you haven't had much exposure to ranked, in a ranked game, a medium role is really strong. In these like more casual ranked practice ones where people leave, it sucks.
That makes sense, because that was my first. I was gonna say for least favorite, and I was like, this does not feel good.
Yeah, no. In ranked, people stay. I know at one point I would assume it's still the same. If you leave, even if your side wins, you don't get the win for it because you're gone. So, and I think there might even be a queue back in penalty afterwards if you leave so many. But the medium in a game like this where people just disconnect as soon as they die, what's the point?
My other least favorite one was the spy. I've since learned more about it.
Cool.
But I still didn't like it.
Okay.
It's not intuitive, and the information feels very excess.
Okay. I kind of like the spiral, but to each their own. No.
Okay. We've only got a couple categories left. Do you have any stories you want to tell?
Shoot.
Some epic fail or some triumphant victory?
Did we have any triumphant victories? I guess I should have taken notes. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Well, I'll let you think for a minute. I'll tell the jailer story.
You got one? Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. You remember this? Good.
Yeah. So I was jailer, and you and I hadn't guessed who each other were yet because we were trying to guess usernames.
Oh, you jailed me night 1?
I jailed you night 1, and you were Mafia, but I didn't kill you. And then I jailed another anti-town. I jailed the serial killer the next night, and I didn't kill them either. And then I did jail someone, and their claim sucked. Yeah, they didn't have any notes to post to go with it. So I was like, oh, so you're not doing a last will, you're lying. And they were the role that they said they were. So I got completely roasted, and I got egg on my face, and yeah.
That was good, yeah. And I think either the third person claimed like my role that I had already claimed.
Oh, and to top it all off, the piece de resistance. I jailed you night 1, and you were Mafia, and I didn't kill you, and there was no kill that night. And I raised that point in the chat, like, "Hey guys, I was I didn't say I was jailed. I was like, huh? That's
I said
funny.
I was jailed.
Yeah, you said you were jailed, and I was like, oh, that's weird because there was no night kill, and nobody cared.
And that's what's I'm pretty positive stopped it because I think I was Godfather that game.
Mm-hmm.
That counts as an epic win for me, so it's fine. I know there was one game that I remember. This was just a funny thing to talk about because we were talking about how OP the cleaner was. I don't know if you remember this. We went into a chaos game or whatever, and our Mafia team consisted of a Godfather and 2 cleaners. And so we cleaned like the first 6 kills.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure we ran away with that game if I remember right.
Oh, and there was a really funny game that we played where there was 2 mediums, and the guy was like couldn't speak English.
Yeah, Esteban.
He could not communicate very well, and he like claimed something else, but then he switched his claim to medium, and
everybody was like, okay.
He couldn't figure out like the posting of it, and everyone was like, okay, this guy is definitely the jester trying to get himself killed. But he was the second medium. It was insane.
It was great because you left and only the other medium was talking in the chat, and then they got killed. And then so we're in the night, like the dead chat, we're hanging out. And the next night, just all of a sudden, we get a message from a medium and just says, he, he. We're like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was really nice.
He was, oh, that's good. Yes, good old Esteban. I know we crapped earlier on like the memeing and the occasionally. I'm not going to say all the time because it's not necessarily overwhelming, but a fair amount of toxicity. There are some pretty good memes every now and then that happen on the site. So with the fake names, and when you get like parties of people and they clearly are coordinating their names, and it's a good chuckle if you're out there looking for something funny like that. Do you want to rate this though, or do you have more topics?
Hey, that's what's next on the agenda.
Yes, let's go. Alex, you want to rate this? He's never played.
I was present in the Discord when you played.
Ooh, but how about this? How about you guess my rating and Graham's rating?
Was this out of, what are we, letter out of 5?
Out of 5.
Give it to us.
I'm gonna guess Kyle will say, are you guys doing halves or just whole numbers?
We have done halves, yeah.
I have a half.
Kyle will say 2.5. And Graham will say 3.5.
It's high praise, Kyle.
Okay.
Can I guess Kyle's grade? Okay. Yeah. Kyle's going to give this 1.
All right. Graham's going to give this 2.5.
Shit.
Was I right?
Yes.
Oh, you were close. I gave it a 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah. So...
Go ahead. Do you have any additional comments you want to add to why you're giving it a 1.5? This is the lowest rated game we've talked about to us.
And I wonder if it would have been different if we had done this like a year ago before Among Us. That's one thing I found myself wondering about while playing this is like, I am enjoying this so much less than Among Us. Is it because of Among Us? Like that I've seen how much better I think a Mafia game online can be. But I think there's a lot of other things at play. The community is like very difficult not to like factor in like as part of it. You need 15 people to play the standard game, so you have to play with randos, and it's like kind of like a stew that's been fermenting for years. People like who's left playing this game are the people who are really into it, or who are friends with people at least who are really into it. And it's not great. And the other big thing for me was it's one of the rare games where like I didn't want to play as Mafia, and that
I would rather play as Town in this. That feels weird.
Yeah, it
coming over to the Rapture Zone side of things.
Like I play most of these games for the thrill of getting to lie, but this game I was just like, no thanks.
I mean, we mentioned Among Us, so let's just keep beating the dead horse. I'm pretty sure I said when we talked about Among Us, there's a tangible thrill when you're hunting someone down as the imposter in Among Us and going in to get their little bony bottom showing.
Uh-huh.
There's Mafia in this game. There's nothing. You don't really have, like we've talked about, not talking's OP, so you don't really have to lie. All the Mafia actions are just you click and select the player and they die.
Really only the mafioso really gets to do stuff unless you're like cleaner or if you're got like the forager role, which I think is cool, but isn't very interactive either.
Mm-hmm.
When you're Mafia in this game, you're mostly just like slinking in the shadows and like trying to avoid being the center of attention, and that's kind of it.
You're lying if you get brought up. And that's, yeah.
And it's much less fun to do that when you're playing in these quick online games instead of like in real life One Night Werewolf, where you're doing the same thing when you're the werewolf, but it's much more fun to try to do it in person with people you
Well,
know.
yeah. Well, there's that. And I mean, while I think as in a general vacuum, the anonymity is more of a pro than a negative, you can't develop any kind of knowledge on any players in this. So even if you are playing with the same people over and over again, you can't, no repertoire between any players. So
I
I think
think the
that
word we're looking for is rapport.
rapport. Yeah. Thank you. I knew that's what, as soon as I said it, I was like, that's not right, but I was going to keep going and
Strong
figure
French
that
word.
you're going to, thank you. Rapport. That's like, isn't that what they use to stab people with? Rapers, rapports. What are those called?
Rapier.
Rapier. Thank you. But yeah, so you don't establish like any kind of meta, and I've completely lost my train of thought now thinking about swords.
That's okay. I think we're ready to wrap up the pod. Yeah, this is. I do wonder, like, if we could take a time machine back to 2014. If I know my rating would
I
be higher then, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely,
but
absolutely.
but like I can't help that. Like, it is
No,
where it is, and
yeah,
deception games
I
have
think
come a
it's
long way. I think since then.
yeah, oh yeah, I think it's fair to say if we went back to like 15, 16, this is four stars. Like when I first played this, I loved this and played the daylights out of it. But nowadays, we played for a while. I'm good for a while now. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I
Like
mean,
I can go lay down on the couch, kick my feet up, grab my phone, and play a couple games of Among Us in 5 minutes. No, actually, that's another con we should mention: the length that these games take. If
yeah.
if you're wanting to get into like staying around for like a ranking or staying around to make sure you get the points for staying around or whatever, I mean, it's 15, 20 minutes sometimes for just one of them.
If you die early, it sucks.
Exactly. Yes. And you're idle. And again, we're going back to, let's just Among Us, and Among Us, you die early. You still can kind of do stuff, or at least there is the, mini game kind of thing of you're the ghost and you can follow around who you think is the killer for fun or whatever.
That's
So
actually fun. When I first started playing Among Us, I thought that was the most fun part of the game.
so you can
I
do
get to go
that.
faster. That's tight.
I can go through walls. Sweet.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the things that this game really doesn't provide. Where I mean, like the only instance where it does is, like I said, like in higher level play, at least it used to be, if there was a medium, the dead chat was pretty active. But I mean, if you die on day one and you're buckling in for a 15, 20 minutes where you're not doing anything, you can't really leave if you want to be counted for playing in that game.
And if you're listening and you say like it's not fair that you're giving it a low rating if you would have given it a higher rating before, I feel like the same can be said of, like, as I said, this feels like a flash game. It feels outdated in that way. And if you went back and played a lot of games that came out 6 years ago, they're not going to feel as good as they feel today. And there are games that do stand the test of time, but this doesn't feel like one of them.
Do you think without removing like the essence of what the game is, do you think there's anything they could do?
Well, there's a lot of things they can revamp in terms of like the presentation, but
not necessarily about that. I'm talking more like core gameplay. Can you keep this style of chat-based Mafia with day and night structured phases, and
I don't know
if
you can really make it like up to par with some of the other games with 15 players.
I don't think
is a lot.
Yeah, I don't think this. The target market now is mobile games for something like this, and I don't think you can't really speed this up any more than it is.
No, I think you would need to reduce the number of players, but then I don't think you can really separate yourself from some of the other games because it would be too similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it had a run, and I mean, and it's still, when we were playing, there's still over thousands of people online each time playing it, so some people enjoy it.
Want to play some Among Us?
Yeah, let's go.
But before that, we should do some moments of Zen.
No, we shouldn't.
What?
Oh,
You're like on a 3 podcast streak of forgetting about notes.
Oh, yeah, I am. Sorry.
okay, all right. And we requested a lot of notes.
We did.
You requested notes, and I'm about to deliver. I have 21 tabs open on my Chrome,
geez.
and my computer is screaming at me for it.
All right, let's go. Tab 1.
Hit us.
Fortunately, some guy on Reddit did all the work for me. So
let's go.
Well, first, tab 1 is Merriam-Webster for benign. Antonyms for benign.
Thank you.
Poisonous.
Wait,
venomous,
no. Wait, no. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, antonym. That's a word.
menacing,
That's right.
Sinister,
menacing,
hazardous,
threatening. Threatening's a good one.
Jeopardizing.
Probably what
Yeah,
meaning we
yeah. Threatening's a good one. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
You asked about a tutorial. There was an update on blankmediagames.com October 30th, 2015.
Kyle's favorite website.
Hey, Townies, we're adding a tutorial in the next patch. So apparently they added one at some point.
Uh-huh.
And according to the wiki, there is a tutorial.
Okay.
We do not know how to access it.
And you did mention a
It
tutorial,
must say
but
right
I
at the
don't
front.
think a tutorial would help you with a lot of the things that I talked about.
Well, that's what I was saying. I know, but like the makers of the game have to know what the lingo is. Like, there's no way they are completely blind to the lingo. Like, you got to make a glossary or something, my guys.
You want me to tell you what the tutorial does?
Sure.
I guess.
It will teach you how to select an in-game name and an introduction to the roll wheel. It discusses the different phases.
Okay.
How to use custom settings, like your pet.
God. Okay.
How to spend your town points, so money. And how to choose a game mode and play it.
That does not sound like what we need it to be.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I looked up some sus merch. You can get a magnet, tank top, a tote, a pin, a pillow, stickers.
There's all sorts.
hoodie.
Yeah, there's all sorts of good shirts. I saw one with it was like an Italian spaghetti. Oh, what did it say? I don't know. Who cares? There's a lot of good stuff.
All right. So the meaty stuff. So this is from the Town of Salem subreddit. I found this user, Meller Ekman Lawyer. And literally all he posts is like graphs and charts and stats from Town of Salem.
Okay.
I don't know how he gets his data, but he has it.
I trust him.
So
hopefully he's not making it up.
Literally, I mean, if you want to go Town of Salem subreddit, you can find all the stuff he's posted, but I just grabbed some ones I thought were interesting.
Okay.
Roll win rates.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
65% of the time, the Retributionist wins.
Okay.
60% of the time, the Lookout wins. The Mayor is up there. The Spy, the Investigator, Vigilante. I don't know what a lot of those roles do. So,
Oh, that reminds me. When we did ratings, I also wanted to mention. I feel like people might be listening and being like, "Oh, you gave it a poor rating because you sucked." I won 70% of my games. I still was having a bad time. So let me just throw that out there.
good job.
How many percent did I win?
I wasn't keeping track of yours.
My next chart is Mafia win rate when they are the first to die. Disguiser. The Mafia wins about 28% of the time when they're the first Mafia to die. The lowest, of course, is Godfather. The Mafia wins the least when Godfather is the first to die.
How much did I have a percent for that? Like, I want to know what the disparity between the two is.
Godfather looks like it's about 13-14% win rate when they are the first to die.
Okay, so it's a 100% increase.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Next chart. Average day one post count by role. The veteran averages the most posts. Jailer is second.
okay.
The consort is the least.
Okay.
Let's see.
Power
what do I
rolls
got
be
next?
talkative.
Most frequently executed town role is sheriff, 13% of the
How
time.
did we get that stat? What does that even mean?
don't know. I'm just pulling this guy's charts,
Okay.
man.
They make
All
it
right,
to the end of the game the least, I'm guessing.
Or I interpreted it as townies
failing to
who
use the
were-
roll.
or townies who were voted off, basically. Like which role most frequently was killed off by the rest of the town.
Huh.
Got another one. Night 1 death rates by role. Bodyguard, most likely to die. Night 1, 18% of the time.
Uh-huh.
Least likely. Godfather, 0.5% of the time.
What? Okay.
Well, that makes sense because they have the kill in their head.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I have
I was thinking
a
day one. Okay, sorry.
like one of those word charts of most frequent words.
Oh, like the word clowns or whatever?
Yeah, for a jail chat.
Oh, great. Okay. What, like roll
Biggest
now?
word
Roll now?
Are dude, idiot, dumb, WTF, reporting,
Okay. Uh-huh.
stupid,
Reported.
moron, bad, stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep going. How likely you are to get killed day 2 based on your positioning in the game?
Like number on the list?
Yes. The highest is number 1. 3.5% of the time you will die.
Okay.
You don't want to be number 1.
Okay.
This one is another word cloud. This is town chat after a vigilante kills a townie.
Oh, no.
GG, LOL, nice, wow, LMAO, who was jailed?
Who was
I'm
jailed?
bitch. Wait, what the WTF?
It's a bunch of memes.
Fun. Most frequent phrases in the jail chat posts by town and not town. Hello, hey, sheriff, hi,
Sheriff.
LOL. Most successful fake claims. It says jailer, transporter, veteran, spy, bodyguard.
Hang on a second. It says transporter is one of the most successful fake claims?
Let's see. Trialed because sheriff found you night 1. Here's your chances of getting pardoned if you claim these roles. Transporter, it said 50% of the time you will survive if you claim transporter.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just talking about like for fake claims. I was going to say the game literally, like, you get 2 insta confirms on who you transported. Okay. Uh-huh.
Let's see. Mafia claiming sheriff. How often do they pretend to check another mafia member? 21% of the time they pick.
Lower than I would think.
They pick their own mafia.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's all my interesting graphs. This guy has 1 million graphs, so go look at his graphs.
Okay. Any other notes?
No. We're good.
I realized why I've been skipping the notes, Alex.
Why?
Because I only save one of these and I throw the rest of my outlines away, and the one I saved is one where I forgot to put the notes into the outline. So I just keep copying it over.
Nice.
Is it time for Moment of Zen now?
Yes, go ahead.
Now you can move on to Moment of Zen.
If you'll forgive me, you can go first.
Me?
Yeah.
I have found this segment has made me realize my life is not very interesting. I don't have fun bowel movement stories or dreams or children.
You just bought a house.
I bought a house. It's going okay. It's fine.
It's going okay.
It's a house.
Can't wait to stay there.
We moved here like a month ago, and all the leaves started falling, and we didn't have rakes because we lived in an apartment.
You're not supposed to rake the leaves because they're good for the environment.
Well, good thing, because we never bought rakes, and we haven't raked, so there's just leaves.
The natural mulch of the environment. It helps
worms
cultivate, etc.
what's going to happen is they're going to get snowed on. Where are they going to go? They're just going to be there.
You do want to get a mulch before
they
then.
decompose underneath, and then they fertilize the soil for spring.
And I feel like I shouldn't be getting advice from a person who's never owned a home.
Hi, Alex. As someone that's owned a home that has lots of trees that leaves get in the yard, those leaves stay there over winter and get wet. They're going to kill all the grass underneath it.
Yeah, you let them kill it because it makes the grass more fertile for future generations.
Okay. So I need to get rid of the leaves before the first.
The only reason you rake the leaves is just to avoid the killing of the grass, and that's for the aesthetic reasons. But if you want healthier land, you let the leaves die on it.
Well, I read I could just mow them, but I also don't have a lawnmower, so.
Well, you're going to need to get one, I guess, at some point if you plan on mowing your grass.
That would be the best thing to do, is to mow them, but leave the spray of the dead leaves on the grass.
No, that's actually, yes, that's what you do.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I need to get a lawnmower and start mowing in the middle of December.
You might have missed the boat on this one.
I think I missed the boat. Maybe next year.
Yeah, you'll get them.
I've got kind of a long one if you want to go next, Graham.
I mean, to be honest, I can't really think of any. I've just been working so much recently.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's been tiring. Let's see. Anything fun with my kids? No. Anything?
I mean, we did hear them getting a little weepy earlier. So.
A little weepy.
Was that crying coming on your end?
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, Evelyn's in the other room, and that came through. It wasn't lighting up on my side.
Oh yeah, it came through.
Oh shit!
Just a little.
Alex, can you edit out the baby?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, it's baby's first podcast though.
Baby's first podcast, great. Let's see. Moment of Zen.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, do you have any cool defrauding the election stories, Graham? I'm sure you were a part of that.
I mean, I harvested
delivering
a lot of ballots,
fake Biden ballots.
Yeah. Like I had like cats turning ballots in for Biden,
Or hanging out with a lot of cats on your Instagram.
I did. There's a lot of cats on my route. What can I say? They all voted.
So I documented all 7 vivid dreams that I had between last podcast and this podcast. I'm not going to do as much detail as I did for the last one, but I'm going to run through them. You
should write a book and send it to a booktuber.
You need to get a dream journal.
Like I said, I used to do one, but I stopped.
Okay.
All right,
so I'm ready.
The first 3 are all Pokemon TCG related.
Okay, great. Very relatable.
This isn't chronological order, by the way.
Isn't?
No.
But what if the order they go has something to do with the dreams?
I'm trying to be brief here, okay?
Okay.
So I'm grouping them.
Okay.
So the first one was, so I had a dream that I was in Florida for a regional.
Okay.
And I had traveled there to a Ramada Inn. It was like, it was kind of like, the ones we'd go to in Angola, Alex. It was just like in a hotel in like the spare room on that floor. Yeah. And it was a very small regional. It was like only 60 participants or something. But
wait, hang on. Wasn't the first regional I went to, wasn't that at a Ramada Inn?
Maybe, no. I don't know.
Where was it in Fort Wayne?
No, I think it was in where you played Kingdra.
That was a state.
Oh, that was a state. Shoot. Oh, actually, here I've got a moment of Zen. Can I do a moment Zen from like 10 years ago?
Stop it. Go away, Ian Mega.
No, it has nothing to do with you.
Fine.
But it has to do with that venue. I just want the world to know that the wherever that States was being held at, it had like little bathrooms off to the side. I took a shit so big I could not get it to flush that I locked the stall door, and crawled out underneath.
Is this between rounds?
No, it was before the tournament. And later, me and Nolan were walking by, and they had the like little pole like closed for cleaning and like wet floor signs all over the place.
It was just one stall?
Yes. You're a monster.
Oh, God.
I regret your decisions for you.
Graham is going to hell.
That's all okay. I'm good now.
We couldn't make it a pod without that kind of reference.
One poop thing. Yeah, okay.
One poop story.
All right, go ahead. Ramada Inn. You're playing Pokemon.
I'm at the Ramada Inn in Florida, and my family is there, so it's like kind of when I traveled to nationals back in like 2009, like my parents and my sister were there as well. And so I got there the day before the tournament, and everyone's like play testing in the venue area. And there's also like vendors, but they're really tall vendors. Like it's almost like they've set up entire buildings in this high ceilinged space. Okay. So I remember like going around and like seeing the different vendors. So fast forward to the next morning, I need to play a deck, and I have but they took our decks the previous night to keep them so that we can't change them out or anything like they would for like Top Cut in at events and stuff, in real tournaments. And so I go to get my deck back, and they said that I didn't put it in the right place. They don't have it, and so I have to scaffold to the top of those big setups in the vendor area. So I'm like on top of these giant cubes and like trying to rummage around these basically like tops of buildings through like just debris and stuff for my deck. And I never
like
find
scaffolding
it.
And stuff.
Yeah. And so I get back down, and like the tournament's about to start. It's 5 minutes till round time. And my sister runs up, and she has a deck box, and she's like, "Here, Alex found your cards. He brought you your deck." And I flip through it, and like the first few cards are right. And then there's like a Heracross. And I was like, I would never play a Heracross.
Ever. Just
no. And then I was like, oh, so what happened was, Alex, you just thought you like would know what I played, so you bought me an entirely new deck from the vendors and said it was my deck. And I was like, wow, what a nice gesture when I woke up.
What a nice friend.
But there's no way I could have played with that.
Heracross is pretty good against ADP.
Heracross is
just
trash. It was a grass Heracross. Anyway.
Oh, wow.
That's all you need to know.
Sorry.
So that was the first one. Next one was very simple.
Heracross.
In my dream, no, it wasn't in my dream. This was a result of how I felt when I woke up from the dream. So I woke up to my alarm, and in my mind, psychologically, I needed to pay TCG energy to shut off my alarm. It cost like 2 colorless energy to turn off my alarm. And to get out of bed, I thought I had to pay my retreat cost to exit the bed. I had like a 3 retreat cost. And then by the time I got out of bed, I realized, what the hell am I thinking about? That was in close proximity to the Players' Cup.
What was your retreat cost, 2?
It was a 3 retreat cost.
3? Well, that's heavy. Come on.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, I would put you like at a 1 retreat cost, I think.
Okay, so then my last TCG related dream. I went to like a Chicago marathon type deal, and it was like at those. Do you remember who the Chicago organizer was? Who was a big deal? He got like top 4 at a Worlds one year with an Absol deck.
He was friends with like Jason Klasinski and
yeah. Anyway, he's got right. He's got a bunch of like retro decks from those formats, and he lets people play them and borrow them. We did that one time.
Yeah, that's 1 year. So
in my dream, he had a set of decks for what used to be our favorite format, the Diamond and Pearl to Stormfront format. And we were so excited to play them. And he was like, yeah, I heard about it from not from you necessarily, but from other people who know you. And so I put these decks together, and I was like, great, can I play Regigigas? And he was like, what? That deck sucks. I don't have that built. And I was so appalled that I just walked out. And so like that concludes my TCG dreams. I have 4 more, but they're all pretty short. Okay, so the first 2 are just really random. I had a dream last night that there was like a 3-foot long bass that was like in my house, and it was just walking around on its fins like a dog.
You're dreaming about evolution.
Well, I realized today, like 24 hours later, that what it reminds me of is there's this horror story about fish that walk on that start leaving the sea and walking on land, and it's called Gyo by Junji Ito.
No, that's called the origin of species. What are you talking about?
You'll have to look it up. Anyway, so that was one. That was really random. I had another dream that I was in like a shopping center that was like it kind of reminded me of being at like Disney or something, where everything was really ornate and it was like stylized like an old timey village, but it was under a dome. And I was trying to find Tabitha's. Now I don't know what Tabitha's sells or why I was trying to find Tabitha's.
Oh, the store. Okay.
But I was trying to find it on a map and I couldn't locate it. And for some reason, I started digging through a dumpster trying to find some clues to how I could get to Tabitha's. And my grandparents showed up behind me and they were like, "Oh, Kyle, we're on our way to Tabitha's. Why don't you join us?" And in that moment, I realized they weren't wearing their face masks. And not only that, I wasn't wearing my face mask either, and I had forgotten to bring one. And I woke up in shame of not remembering to bring my mask. Okay. So I got two more. And these ones just don't have to do with the dreams at all. They have to do with what I did in real life when I woke up from the dreams. So,
okay.
The first is one night I woke up at like 2 a.m. I wasn't awake. I was sleep talk, or I was awake. No, I was awake, but I was like in a dream state because I turned to Kate and I go, "There's something under your pillow." And to me, there really was a box under her pillow. I was convinced. And I remember it. I was awake. There was a box of black eyeballs under her pillow. And I was like, there's something under your pillow. And she was like, "No, there isn't." And I was like, "There is though." And then I just like rolled over and just like tried to not think about it. I don't know how to explain that one.
Did you sneak your hand like under her
No,
pillow?
I was afraid of it.
Check?
And so then finally, I text you guys about this one. Last week, I like flipped out of the bed and I don't know what I landed on, but I cut my hand really deep and it was like the most pain I'd felt in a while. It was the kind of pain where like it was like a half an hour later, I could still not think about anything else but the pain in my hand. It was not like sliced in such a way that I needed like bandages or anything, but it was deep enough. Like I don't know what I was dreaming about, except that I remember like falling in my dream because there was something behind me, and I just remember being startled by whatever was behind me, and I flipped out of the bed.
You're a wild man.
I get wild sleep.
This could be a spinoff podcast.
maybe it's not a spinoff podcast. Maybe we just transition to doing that podcast.
We're gonna run out of deception games at some point, I guess.
True.
You could tell us your dreams, and then Kyle or Alex and I can try to tell you what the dreams are trying to tell you.
Yeah, we'll like guess in the moment.
This is good. Write that down. This is a good idea.
Well,
Moment is Zen is now just Kyle's den.
Sure.
What do the black eyeballs represent?
Yeah, we need to know.
It was...
What fears do you think are you hiding under Kate's pillow?
I can tell you. I can describe the box too. It was like a wooden like box, and the slats were like horizontal, and it had like two like the handles and the sides were just holes. You could put your hands in the holes to pick it up.
That is creepy.
It was thinner and like not wide enough to be a dresser drawer, and there were these glassy looking dark eyes in there. It was really uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable listening to it, so.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. I made diligent notes, and I made sure not to spoil you on any of them, except for obviously the one where I woke up and I was bleeding.
Ripped your hand in half.
Yeah.
Isn't that the new TV show on HBO with the Big Bang Theory girl? She wakes up and she's bleeding. Were you watching that?
No, I have not heard of this.
I know TV.
I'm ready to end the pod. Are you?
Yeah, I'm ready for bed.
Thank you for listening again. And I don't know if we'll be doing a Mafia review next. I don't know if we'll be doing or if it'll be a game review. I don't have a game in mind. Do you? Well, we'll figure it out.
What's the game about? What's the game about coups? We could do that one. It seems relevant. Isn't it the Resistance?
The Resistance and the coup.
Oh, we not done the Resistance?
No, we haven't done the Resistance.
Is there? There's probably an app for that.
You can play it on the same site we played Secret Hitler.
Oh well, hell yeah, we'll do that next.
Okay.
All right. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Love you.